Hello, my little math buddies. Let's go ahead and get started with what we have going on today in math. So we are going to review adding and subtracting fractions from what you learned yesterday, and then we're going to continue with adding and subtracting fractions. However, we are going to be adding and subtracting with mixed numbers and fractions. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so yesterday you guys were adding and subtracting fractions. You were doing similar problems such as this. You should have done similar problems for your assignment for the day. And we're just going to go ahead and talk about the high points that we learned yesterday that we have to make sure that we remember for today. So let's get my handy dandy pen over here and let's hope that we don't have any issues. So if we can recall yesterday, we had the fraction of 2/3 plus a half. So let's go ahead. Here we go. My pen is not working. There we go, Lordy Lou. Okay, this mouse is not a very good mouse. Okay, oh my goodness, we're gonna have some problems here. Okay. So the biggest point, all right, you guys, what was the biggest thing from yesterday that is the first step of what we need to look at when we are adding and subtracting fraction? What is the very first step that we need to be doing when we look at adding and subtracting fractions? So take a second and think about it. The first step is we need to look at our denominators. Our denominators are our number here on the bottom. Remember, down with the denominator. The denominator is down on the bottom. Okay, now are these denominators the same? No, we have 3 and 2. They're definitely not the same. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to put these numbers into their multiples list. So we have 3, 6, 9. Sorry, guys, this is going to be a little frustrating. 12. Okay, so let's stop at 12. And then let's do our 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, let's go ahead and double check our multiples list and see if we have any matching numbers to find our, drum roll, common denominator. All right, so 3 and 2, nope. 6 and 4, no. Oh gosh. This mouse is going to drive me nuts. 9 and 6, oh wait. Hold on a second. We just had a 6 up here. Here we go. We have a common multiple here. Let's keep going just to see. 9, nope, because we got 8 here, and then, oh, nope. All right, so our common lucky denominator is the number 6. All right, you guys. So now what do we do to get this 6? How are we supposed to go from 3 and 2 to 6? Do we add it? Do we multiply? What do we do? You're right, we multiply. So what are we going to multiply? You're right, we're going to multiply the denominator with whatever number is going to get us the common denominator. In this case, 3 times 2 equals 6. And what's our rule about doing something on the bottom? We always must do it to the top. All right, here we go. Now let's look at our second one. We have 2, which is 2, 4, 6. So our third one, so 2 times 3 equals 6. And what we do on the bottom, we must do on the top. All right, so let's go ahead and put these fractions into our new fractions, our new and improved. Let's do green. Okay. All right, so let's do 2 times 2 over 3 times 2 plus 1 times 3 and 2 times 3. All right, so let's put these together now. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is our common denominator of 6 plus 3 times 1 is 3 and 2 times 3 is 6. So we would get 7. Oh, that is the worst looking 7 had I ever seen it. 7 over 6. All right, okay, so today we are going to look at not multiplying, oh my goodness, that's next week. We are going to be adding and subtracting mixed numbers with proper fractions. Now, if you look at this fraction here, this 7 over 6, we didn't go over it yesterday because it wasn't quite time yet, but this is an improper fraction right here. This is an improper fraction. Now, with improper fractions, it means that you already have your whole fraction, but you have a little extra. Because 6, it's like saying you have 7 out of 6 pieces of pizza. How do you have 7 pieces of pizza if you're only supposed to have 6? Okay? So how we do this, you will learn in just a minute on fixing improper fractions into proper fractions. So let's go ahead and get moving. All right, so adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Now, this fraction right here, this fraction, this is a mixed number. It means that there is a whole number and a fraction. So you have the 2 as a whole number and then 3/4 as your fraction. And we're going to be adding this to 2/3, which is just a fraction. There's no whole number to it. Do not worry. It'll be fine. I promise. I can hear the screaming in your head of, oh my gosh, Miss Gonzalez, what are we going to do? Don't worry. I got y'all. Okay, so what do we start with? What is our first step when we add and subtract fractions? Now, don't get confused or don't get panicky just because we have this whole number here. We still have to find our common denominator. Let's get our, oh, so we still need to find our common denominator. We still have to find it to help us move forward. It's the first step every time. So after we've seen and identified our denominators, which is 4 and 3, we need to move on to making the multiples list. So let's go ahead and do it off to the side over here. We have 4, 8, 12, 16, and we'll stop at 20, okay? And then let's list our 3's. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. All right, let's go through our list. To find our common multiple, 4 and 3, no, that's where our problem started. We don't need that. 8 and 6, no, not quite. 12 and 9, nope. 16 and 12, wait, oh my goodness. We just passed up that 12 and we have found our common denominator. So the common denominator of 4 and 3 is going to be 12. Now, how are we going to get there? Well, as we just said, we have to multiply our denominator by whatever number to get 12. So 4 times what equals 12? Very good. 4 times 3 equals 12. So we'll add our x here for our times 3. Now, what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. Very good. All right. Now, let's take a minute and look. So far, we're acting like as if this 2 isn't even here, but we can't forget about him. But here's the thing. When we're adding and subtracting mixed numbers with fractions, you don't have to do anything to the 2. Nothing gets done to the 2 until we're adding and subtracting. All right? So nothing's going anywhere. We're just dealing with getting our fractions to have common denominators to be able to add them in anyways. All right, let's keep going. So we have 3. So what times 3 equals 12? Very good, 4. So let's go ahead and show our work. There we go. And what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. There we go. All right, so let's re-image, let's put together all of this hot mess and make it a little bit easier to see, okay? So we have 2. Okay, this color is not working very well. The blue is working better. Let's see. Okay, we have 2, and then we have 3 times 3, and then we have 4 times 3 plus 2 times 4 over 3 times 4. All right, so we are still only looking at the fraction portion of this mixed number. We still don't need to do anything just yet with the 2, okay? So let's make sure we have all of our writing correct so we don't mess up and get the wrong answer. As usual, so this will turn into 2. 3 times 3 is what? 9. Very good. Over 12 plus 2 times 4, which is 8. Very good. And 3 times 4 is 12. All right, so now we have our new and improved fractions so that we can add or subtract. So let's go ahead and look at it because now this is where we got to look at this 2 here, okay? So just like how we add the top numbers, the numerator, just like how we add the numerator, we would have to add the whole number if there was another whole number right here. Now, since there is no whole number, it'll be easy and it'll just be 2. So let me show you what I mean. So we have 9 plus 8, which is anybody? Crickets, crickets, crickets. Well, silly, you can't answer. Duh, it's a video. All right, so let's count it through. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 9 plus 8 is 17. So we're going to have this 2 here. And we're going to have 17 over 12. Now, remember what I said about improper fractions? We can't have a larger numerator than we can a denominator. That just doesn't make sense. Like I said, you can't have 17 pieces of pizza when you're only supposed to have 12. That's too much. That's too extra. So what we do, now let me go back just a second because I didn't quite go over this whole number here. Just like how we have to add the numerators in the numerator from each fraction, we have to add the whole number to another whole number. And since there is no whole number here, this number still ends up being the number 2. Now, if there was a 1 here, we would add the 2 and the 1, and this whole number would now be a 3 instead of a 2. Okay? So let's come back to the fact that this is an improper fraction. Now, we need to make it a proper fraction. This is not the answer. We cannot leave it like this, okay? You cannot leave it like an improper fraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at this 17, okay? And you're going to look and be like, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make this number here to be smaller than this number? Well, let me just tell you a little secret. For a whole number, y'all know it's the whole fraction, okay? Now, let me show you what a fraction would be represented as for a whole number. This would be a whole number, okay? So 12 over 12, that means we have every part of our fraction. So we have one whole. There are no parts missing. Now, what we're going to do, this is the part that we got to make sure that we can grasp on. So what you're going to do, so sorry guys, give me 1 second. Ouch. Okay, sorry, I had to readjust real quick. Okay, so back to this. Like I said, we have 12 over 12, which means we have no parts missing. We have the whole number. We have the whole fraction. But we need to make this correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull 12 over 12 from this fraction. So what we're going to do, let me erase this. Is we're going to take away a whole from the fraction, and we're going to add it to the whole number. So we're taking out a whole from here. Now 17 minus 12 equals 5. Now we have this whole number right here, and this is our new fraction. But we still have this whole number hanging out over here because we pulled him out of our improper fraction. Well, what's going to happen is this whole is going to get added to this whole. So then we will have 3 and 5 12s. And now we have our answer with a proper mixed number. And remember, a mixed number is a whole number and a fraction. So I suggest that you take an extra look at this, pause your video, take an extra look at it, take it all in. And just remember that for subtracting, it's the same thing. You're still going to subtract your numerators, okay? And then you will subtract your whole numbers. It's the same exact way, and I will demonstrate that to you just here in a minute. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to take it all in or make some notes, and then we're going to go ahead and quickly do the subtraction part. All right, so here is a subtraction example that I want to go ahead and do with you. I'm going to go ahead and just briefly talk about it as we go through it because it is very similar to just adding it. But I want you to see it again, and I want you to see it in subtraction form. So here we go. All right, here we have 2 mixed numbers, which is 3 and 2/5 and 1 and 1/3. I have seen that my denominators are 5 and 3. I'm going to go ahead and write out my multiples. So we have 5, 10, 15, and 20. And then on our 3s, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. All right, let's go through our multiples and make sure to find that common denominator between 5 and 3. All right, so 5 and 3, nope. 10 and 6, no. 15 and 9, no. 12 and 20, no. Oh, here's that 15, and I know we just had it over here in the 5s, so our common denominator is 15. Now, how we get to 15 is timesing a number by 5 to get it. So what number times 5 is 15? Very good, 3. So we're going to do times 3. And what we do to the bottom, we must do to the top. Okay, now let's look at 3. What number do we multiply by 3 to get 15? 5. Very good. So let's go ahead and multiply the bottom by 5, and now we multiply the top by 5. Okay, now let's go ahead and fix up these fractions so we can see them a little bit better. So we have 3 and 2 times 3 over 5 times 3 minus 1 and 1 times 5 over 3 times 5. All right, now let's multiply it out. So we have the 3 here. Okay, then 2 times 3 is 6 over 5 times 3, which is 15, minus 1. 1 times 5 is 5 over 3 times 5, which is 15. Very good. All right, so now let's go ahead and start subtracting. Now remember, we are subtracting our numerators and we are subtracting our whole numbers. Okay, so let's do it. All right, so 6 minus 5 is... You're very right. It's 1. All right, and then 3 minus 1 is, very good, it's 2. And now let's double check this mixed number and make sure it doesn't have an improper fraction to it, which it doesn't because 1 is smaller than 15. And this is going to be our answer. All right, you guys, so if you need to look at this again, pause the video, make some notes on it, which I highly suggest, go ahead and do so. If you need to play it back, go for it. Whatever you need to do to help you best, you will be doing these on your assignments. You will be adding and subtracting mixed numbers with their fractions. You will also be adding and subtracting just fractions, okay? So not just ones that have mixed numbers, you know, plus or minus a fraction. You'll also be doing just a fraction plus a fraction, just like how you did yesterday, just so we can make sure that we can keep up with making sure we remember how to do it and we don't lose that new learned skill. So as usual, if you guys need anything from me, just make sure that you email me. I will be happy to help you guys. Just let me know and I'll be happy to re-explain anything or whatever you guys need. Y'all know I'm here for you. All right, you guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.